Hi everyone, this is Carolyn Speaks, the State of the World on Sunday, August 9th, 2020. Well, the coronavirus is still with us, and as of this evening, we now have 5 million coronavirus cases in the U.S., and there are a few signs that the caseload is slowing, seems to be growing. And then there's this article about people who thought the coronavirus was a hoax until they fell ill and infected their family members and friends with the virus. Now they're speaking out about how wrong they were. Too little, too late. But maybe it will make a difference for some. In any case, we have to take it seriously. We have to wear masks. We have to do social distancing. Only go out when you have to, like to the drugstore, the grocery store, the doctor. And we have to protect our vulnerable populations, such as veterans, those living in veterans' homes, assisted living homes, retirement homes, and nursing homes. We have to protect the homeless, who are living on the street or in shelters. We have to protect the farm workers, the agricultural workers, the first responders, the healthcare workers, the essential workers, the grocery store workers, the truck drivers, and we have to protect the agricultural workers, the farm workers. We have to protect those in detention centers, those in prisons and jails. So a lot of people we have to protect. Schools, in some places are tried to reopen, not very successfully. There's a high school where it started to open and there was no social distancing in the hallways at that high school, and now I believe 9 of those students have tested positive for the virus. It's very unfortunate that our president is saying for so long, continues to say that the virus is a hoax. It's not real. It's fake news, and refusing to marshal the resources of the federal government to get all the personal protective equipment necessary, all the hospital equipment like ventilators necessary, to get all testing equipment necessary. So now we have states, groups of states that are banded together to do this on their own because we're not getting any help from the federal government. Now there's some other issues that have occurred recently is Trump is trying to cut the census job short. It's supposed to, taking a census is done every 10 years, supposed to go through this end of September. End of October, he's trying to make it end sooner. Having the coronavirus around does make it harder to do the census. The census is supposed to count everyone living in the United States, whether they have legal documents or not. They're here, and they're going to be using the resources of the country, so they have to count everybody. The census is also used to determine how many legislators you have, like in a city or a state or the federal government, the U.S. House of Representatives. So it's very important to have an accurate census, but as of this weekend, looks like they've only counted about 60% of the households, people. So hopefully that'll be solved. We still have protests going on around the country protesting the murder of George Floyd at the hands of a white police officer. We still have shortages of personal protective equipment, hospital equipment, testing equipment, and note all tests are not the same. We do not have an accurate test universal across the whole country. There are groups of states that are working on that. So, the rule of the day, every day, is social distancing, 6 feet between you and any other person or persons, and wear a mask. And if you do test positive for the virus, I self-isolate, go into quarantine, and trace all your contacts. And then any of those contacts who test positive, they have to trace their contacts. It should also be done on a national level, on a centralized level, centralized authority. And our government has really failed us. I've talked about this before, where um, Trump's son-in-law Kushner was supposed to be in charge of getting personal protective equipment and testing and having a national plan for the whole country. He was gathering people who knew he could do that. And then at that time, the virus was affecting mainly the Northeast and the West Coast, which is what they call blue country, not red country. So he said, why should we do all this work to save people who aren't our people? But I thought we're supposed to be in the same country. So they really are only interested in people who live in the South and parts of the Midwest. The rest of them should fend for themselves. However, Republicans live in all parts of the country. They're not all in one particular state or a group of states. So it's a very poor philosophy. Kind of like when there's a hurricane, if it's not in your area, you don't want the government to spend any money on helping the area that's been devastated by the hurricane. But if it's in your area, then you want the government to give all the money you need to rebuild and to get all the help you need. Very strange situation, but that's the way it is. We are a very polarized country. We are definitely divided in philosophy about all kinds of things. But supposedly when there's a crisis, we're supposed to all come together. I believe during the Depression, 1930s, we did all come together. And now we have another depression because so many millions and millions, tens of millions of people are out of work because companies have shut down, because people aren't going out, people aren't buying things. And so it's a real mess. Schools are closed, they're slowly opening, but every time a school opens, they end up with cases of the virus and they have to shut down. So we really need a national plan for everything. So I'm hoping that we will get a leadership soon in the nation to solve all these problems, the economic problems, the health problems. You have to solve the health problem before the economic problem will be solved. So let's work on that. Also, this is August 9th, and August 9th in 1945, the United States dropped the second atomic bomb on city in Japan, on Nagasaki. On August 6th, the U.S. dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, and on August 9th, they followed it up with another bomb on Nagasaki. Now, I have read that President Truman, our president at the time, had made a deal with Russia to come in and declare war on Japan, and then Japan would be faced with all this and would surrender. But instead, the U.S., instead of waiting for Russia to declare war on Japan, they went ahead and dropped the bombs on August 6th, on August 9th. Tens of thousands of people were killed initially. Others died later of the effects of the bomb. And the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were completely devastated. Now, some say that Japan, for a terrible harm, and they were very brutal to all the areas they conquered throughout Asia, and also to those who were trying to conquer them, like the U.S. forces. And why shouldn't they have a bomb dropped on them? Well, the problem is, yes, Japan was very brutal in World War II, but so was Germany and Italy and Spain. But they did not have atomic bombs dropped on them. The research for the atomic bomb was being done, and they instead of planning on dropping the bomb on Germany to end the war in Europe, they decided to drop it on Japan to end the war in the Pacific, in Asia. Well, Japan is, people of Japan are not considered white. People of Europe are considered white and are considered Christian. So I wonder if racism had something to do with who to drop the atomic bomb on. Something that could be discussed. I think that'd be very interesting discussion. I'd be interested in dialoguing with people about that. So anyway, they did not do that. They chose Japan, and that was back then. And now we have leaders who are continuing to flirt with the idea of a nuclear war, or using a nuclear weapon, like Trump has been doing with North Korea. Anyway, that's not good. Nope. So therefore, I think maybe we need to have a more equitable system. What this virus has done, and also the murder of George Floyd, a black man in Minneapolis who was murdered by a white police officer for no reason, has brought out people of all stripes complaining about the lack of social justice, the lack of environmental justice, all kinds of things. And a lot of people are really motivated of all ages. So hopefully all these people will get out and vote, because we have the election in November. If you're not registered, get registered. And then once you register, get all the information available about the candidates and the issues that'll be on your ballot in November. Primaries are still going on in various states. You can also volunteer to help support a candidate or an issue of your choice. A lot of things you can do. Become active. And at these times, with everybody supposedly having a lot of time on their hands because they can't do anything because of the virus, well, you can help someone who's running for office or an issue that is trying to get support. It's not hard to do. I've been volunteering for a while on campaigns, local and national, state, national, all kinds of things. So, okay, do your part. Now, and also, I'm in favor of virtual learning for schools until we can get all schools safely reopened, not opening haphazardly. And make sure all students all over the country have all the equipment and technology they need so they can learn virtually. It's better for a student to fall behind in school than to send them to school where they can get sick or die. That's my philosophy. They could be brought up to speed as time goes on educationally, but if they die, we can't get their education back on board. Okay. Now, how about a little song? The song I'd like to sing today is World of Our Own. I believe it was written by Tom Springfield of the Springfields trio, folk trio, with Dusty, his sister, the lead singer, and Dusty also became an international singing star later on after she left the group. Okay, so let's do this. World of Our Own. Okay. Close the door, light the lights. We're staying home tonight, far away from the bustle and the bright city lights. Let them all fade away. Just leave us alone, and we'll live in a world of our own. We'll build a world of our own that no one else can share. All our troubles will leave far behind us there, and I know we will find such peace of mind when we live in a world of our own. Okay, that was World of Our Own. Hope you liked it. Thank you very much for tuning in this evening to Carol Ann Speaks, The State of Our World on Sunday, June 9th, 2020. Remember to take care of yourself, take care of others. And remember, social distancing, wear a mask, only go out when it's necessary. And call your representatives at the local, state, and federal level to offer your support for all the measures they're trying to do to end this virus, which someday we'll, we'll conquer it with a vaccine. But remember, there are lots of viruses out there, and we only hear about them when they start making people sick and killing people. So be careful. Be aware of what people are doing and stop complaining and get on board. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And remember, kindness goes a long way. Kindness goes a very long way. Thank you very much for listening. See you back here tomorrow evening. Good night. Stay safe.